I'm a little concerned about Kyle Hendricks. Because the talent is still there. It's not like he's losing the stuff. He's just wickedly inconsistent this year, and that's what's scaring me. Because we were in attendance for his gem on opening day when he absolutely shoved against the Brewers and looked great. He looked like the Kyle Hendricks we all know and love. But in that game on Wednesday night, Kyle just didn't look the same. Like, he's just missing on location. The White Sox were just teeing off on him, it felt like. I mean, fuck. Abreu hits like the 5th pitch of the game out of the damn ballpark. Like, he's just – I'm a little nervous, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this because realistically right now, obviously the rotation has not been, healthy. We're still waiting on Wade Miley and Mills and Alzolay and all these other guys that were potentially going to be a part of this rotation this year. But, really outside of Drew Smyly and Marcus Stroman, nobody's been consistent, right? Like, Justin Steele's shown the flashes, and we know Justin Steele's a good player, friend of the program. We love him. I want to see him turn it around, but, it's just there's a lot of inconsistency right now. And the guy that was arguably Mr. Consistent in Kyle Hendricks is not consistent right now, and it's a little concerning. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, when you start to see what kind of pitcher he is, I start to wonder, and I want to go down this rabbit hole, and I dare anybody to do it. I want to see a breakdown of the weather in his first couple starts, because I feel like he is definitely the guy that needs to feel his fingers. And maybe that may be a little bit of why he's not getting as much break on the ball as he is expecting. It's still concerning because, to me, Kyle's the guy that can't miss his spots, and he's missing his spots by larger amounts than any time before I've seen. He's been really in the zone, and he's a guy that has to buy, that on-the-corner strike. He has to get, guys swinging. And I'm starting to wonder if, hitters have changed their approach. They're really daring him to get in the zone because they know if they get him in the zone, most of the pitches, if they're not moving, are going to be within the same, mile per hour, or you're still going to be able to adjust and hit it hard really, in the gap or down the line. You may not hit it out, but you'll be able to put good wood on it. But, yeah, it's concerning. I want to go down the rabbit hole and see what the temperature was for his starts just because I'm curious because he's always had the slow start. And if weather really matters to him in terms of feeling the baseball and feeling, the seams on it, I wonder if that's maybe something that bothers him. But then you start to go back and think of him pitching in the World Series game and, much through October, it was cold then too.
Yeah. And opening day was pretty cold too, no?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
You start to wonder if that's something that maybe just bugs him a little bit more. Maybe as his career kind of, progresses towards, the older stage of his career as if he's not 30, he's going to be 30 real soon. And we were talking about it on the old shows back in the off season with all these starting pitchers on the market going into next year. I would be shocked if the Cubs aren't in that running again for a top of the line arm, because I think they've now realized that you can't bet on Kyle to be a 1 or a 2 anymore. You're looking at Kyle to eat innings at a 3 and a 4, probably for the tail end of his career, which is fine because thank God Jed and Theo signed his contract to be very pitcher friendly, or really team friendly. But with that said, I think the Cubs will be back in at that time, and maybe next year you're looking at some of these position players to make a splash. Going into next year with your Brennan Davises, maybe you get a Nelson Velasquez up there, in the lineup as well. And you have these young pieces like Horner and Happ who are succeeding. Maybe that's, the core for this next year, and you add to it with a starting pitcher.
Definitely think that there could be something there, though, because if you look at his career across the board, it's always April that he struggles the most, and finding the feel for those pitches in the cold is obviously extremely difficult. So that could definitely be a really good point there by Juice. I also look at it too, and we've talked about, me and you, Juice, talked about on the last show about the breaking ball, him trying to make that more of a point over the last few years. So if that's the case, that has lost some of the feel, I want to kind of reiterate that point that we made of maybe that's lost the feel, or aided in the loss of feel for his changeup and his his sinker and stuff like that. Because even if he misses by just a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, I mean, that's a big difference in the zone we're talking about. Like if you're not hitting the corner or you're not hitting just outside just off the plate, but you are hitting the corner on a pitch that you meant to miss the plate with, that's a big difference, just with the changeup alone. And I do think the changeup stuff-wise is a little bit different. Like I don't think it is dipping as much as we're used to seeing, and even as much as we saw on a day like opening day. Because if you look back on the highlights of that start, opening day, or the game against the Pirates, for example, that changeup was moving ridiculously. Like it was starting low and away and jumping, bouncing off the plate, down and away in the dirt. Like it's like, wow, this is a changeup right here. So I don't know, man. I hope he can get it together. I think if there's anybody, like we've talked about a numerous amount of times, if there's anybody that can do it, it's Hendricks. Also, though, to Juice's point about like being in the market for starting pitching next offseason, I do think that's 100%. Like we should be in the market for starting pitching because when you look at it, also too, even with these prospects coming up, right? Caleb Killian, all these guys that are going to be coming up eventually. I mean, DJ Hurts, not nearly as soon, but some of these other guys, you can't bank on them when they come up like their second year. Like let's say Caleb Killian gets a little taste this year. Next year, we can't be banking on him to be a number 3 or a number 2. It usually takes these pitchers 2 or 3 years as rookies that come into the league. So I don't want anybody to be, not even just Caleb Killian, but Justin Steele next year either, unless we see huge improvement from him this season, which is yet to be determined to this point. You really just have to be in the market for more pitching because not only can you not rely on like these soft tosser type of arms anymore, I feel like, but you just really need stability. You need guys that are going to give you 6 innings and just you don't have to question it. Like go out there in the market and get somebody that can give you 6 innings strong, 6-7 innings strong, and has a little bit of velocity behind him. Like maybe Wade Miley can be that when he comes back. But even then, it's like Wade Miley's never been a super dominant arm. He's been a very solid arm in his career. He's not a dominant arm, though. And just go get a dominant arm. Like somebody similar, even Marcus Stroman wasn't – like he was a great signing, don't get me wrong. Like a very good starting pitcher signing. He's not a dominant arm. Like he is a very good high-end rotation pitcher. He's not a 98 mile per hour, 97 mile per hour arm. Like we need that flamethrower, that high velocity, that strikeout pitcher that can give us 6-7 innings nightly. And we just don't have that right now.